Former JPMorgan Chase executive Jes Staley states that he communicated with JPMorgan's current CEO, Jamie Dimon, about sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while he worked for the megabank, according to legal documents. This actually contradicts Dimon's claim that he and Staley never discussed Epstein. Dimon's statement came as part of his deposition from Friday in the U.S. Virgin Islands lawsuit against JPMorgan Chase. In New Wall Street Journal reporting, the outlet said that Staley's statements were in legal documents they viewed that have not yet been made public. In the paper, Staley reportedly said that Dimon communicated with Epstein when he, quote, was arrested in 2006 and in 2008 when Epstein pleaded guilty. Staley also said that Dimon communicated with him multiple times about whether to keep Epstein as a client up until 2012. Now, JPMorgan has rejected the claim that Dimon and Staley discussed Epstein. Quote, we believe this is false. There is no evidence any such communications ever occurred, nothing in the voluminous number of documents reviewed, and nothing in the nearly dozen depositions taken, including that of our own CEO. JPMorgan spokesperson Patricia Wexler told CNBC.
Now, according to deposition transcripts obtained by the Washington Post, JPMorgan Chase kept Epstein as a client years after receiving warnings about his criminal activity. The deposition transcript from Mary Rhodes, who is the executive of the bank's Asset and Wealth Management Division, shows that she was, quote, made aware of Epstein's convictions for sexual offenses, his status as a high-risk sex offender, and public allegations of abuse of minors and human trafficking. She, however, did not think it was her responsibility to remove him as a client, begin a search into his accounts, or take the news to more powerful people. Rhodes later said in the deposition, quote, my responsibility is not to do something with every piece of news media that comes out on our client base. All right, is there a difference between every piece of news media that comes out and an obligation to follow up, just to follow up, not to say immediately he's out, but just to do any kind of investigation on whether or not, because this is what they're being sued for, whether or not they were complicit in Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes.
Right. I take her point because we are now concerned about people getting cut out of the financial world, being deplatformed with PayPal or Venmo or banks not working with problematic people because of the views they've expressed, doing that at the drop of the hat, like the extension of cancel culture into other sectors. I totally take that point. And innocent until proven guilty, due process is not just a legal concept, but like a general good way to operate in like civil society, enlightened society. But he was accused of, these are crimes. This isn't just like problematic views or something he has. These are criminal matters, potentially financial criminal matters that involve the bank. Yes. If they're holding the money, they could be liable. So you would want, not just operating off every insinuation, a rumor, a news story, but you'd still have some responsibility to do something. Yeah,
if there's a report that comes out on the front page of the New York Times that says Gambino crime family head banks at JPMorgan has these number of accounts. I mean, there's an obligation at a certain point to figure out to the extent to which you are involved.
The Gambino crime family.
I apologize.
A microaggression. Oh, I can't work with this woman.
Not all Italians. But yeah, I mean, like that is what we're talking about here. And just to take a step back, this is the posture of the thing. So what we know already from document discovery is that Jes Staley, who was the chief executive of JPMorgan's private bank for years, had a very close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. We've talked about this on the show before.
They chatted about what Disney princesses they like.
Correct.
That's the level of closeness.
Correct. And there's thousands and thousands of these emails. Staley's described his relationship with Epstein as a profound friendship, even when he was locked up. And think about the timeline here. Jamie Dimon took over as CEO of JPMorgan in 2005. So that's before Jeffrey Epstein's first convictions and the jail time that he spent, I think, in 2008, 2009, if I remember that correctly. So the idea that there's a complete veil of ignorance about what Jeffrey Epstein has historically been up to, I think strains credulity, shall we say. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that he shouldn't be allowed to bank anywhere. Once he gets out, you serve your time, you do your crime, all of those kinds of things I completely agree with. But the statements from the woman, Herodes, that she felt like there was no obligation to even investigate when there were subsequent claims that were being floated about by the media. That seems to be like it's going to be a big headache for JPMorgan. It's also worth noting that there's a tension now between Jes Staley and his culpability
Jamie Dimon.
and Jamie Dimon.
Right, saying that we did talk about this. Jamie Dimon saying we didn't talk about this. Now, I mean, we are talking about this is a long time ago. Some of these things that, in fairness, there could be a genuine dispute over whether conversations that are almost 20 years ago actually happened.
Sure.
There might not be documentation. Staley could be trying to protect himself at this point by saying, "Oh no, I raised all these issues," or I said that there was, or Jamie Dimon, or that could have been the case, and Jamie Dimon could be saying, "No, that never happened," to protect himself. Hard to say.
I mean, look. What's
but there's so much. They're so compromised.
Yeah, it's indisputable. Jes Staley's compromised status is indisputable at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it really is about trying to put some wall up between the CEO and this guy Jes Staley. And so now you have to ask yourself the question whether we believe that Jes Staley, a man who was intimately, deeply friends with Jeffrey Epstein, never at any point, given his senior position, said to the CEO of JPMorgan anything about Jeffrey Epstein at all, never discussed Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I wouldn't be able to say that I've never discussed Jeffrey Epstein with any given person in my life just because of the nature of the man being in the news. So that just does seem like a very strong claim that Jamie Dimon is making in this moment, and there seems to be obvious legal reasons why he would do so.
Doing Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know her.
Stop.
New emails obtained by Insider reportedly show that Epstein was invited to editorial meetings with former top editor of Scientific American magazine, Mariette de Kristna. Emails between Epstein and his employee, Leslie Groff, show her coordinating meetings with him and de Kristna for September of 2014. Again, these are years after he had already been incarcerated for sex offenses. Epstein attended editorial meetings on September 22nd and 29th in 2014. Again, just documenting his continued ability to be hugely involved and influential in meeting with important people and handling money for important people. We've gone over the list: Noam Chomsky, Chris Rock, that college president, Branson. The Trumps, the Clintons,
Prince Andrew,
everybody.
Yeah. So, and just here's a little bit more color from that Daily Mail piece we covered a little bit while back about the relationship between Staley and Epstein. And this, I think, further illustrates why Jamie Dimon wants no part of this relationship here. This is from emails. So, on November 1st, 2009, while Epstein was still in prison for having sex with underage girls, Mr. Staley emailed him while staying on his Caribbean island. He wrote, "So when all hell breaks loose and the world is crumbling, I will come here and be at peace. Presently, I'm in the hot tub with a glass of white wine. This is an amazing place, truly amazing. Next time we're here together, I owe you much, and I deeply appreciate our friendship. I have few so profound."
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, so I think that
compromising.
We're going to continue to see the showdown between Jes Staley and Jamie Dimon in their deposition testimony. Obviously, as we said,
Succession. Wouldn't they throw Jes Staley to the wolves by now? Wouldn't they say it's time to take a fall for the good of the?
Well, the question is what incentive Jes Staley has to do or not do that. So Jes Staley has yet to be deposed, and I think there's a lot of probably apprehension from some people about what he's actually going to say when his deposition comes out. Jamie Dimon's deposition was last Friday. That's how we know that he's denied having any communications with Staley about Jeffrey Epstein. This is now a he said situation, and the other shoe will be dropping shortly. And of course, we'll be here to cover it for you right here on Rising. More after this.